I think I have everybody's stuff, so we'll start talking while you guys are finishing up detailing on actual number crunching. So today marks something pretty significant in terms of Project Norn or Project Fate Weaver, depending on which branch of the dwarven clans you're talking to. You all are part of Norn One. You are the group. You're the first group to test out the most dangerous scenarios. You are the premier guinea pigs, basically. You have a vast variety of military, magical, and scientific overcross, so that you can, if you encounter a situation where the outcome has not been expected by the engineers, as expected by the programmers, the rune casters, all the people who designed the system that travels you through time, you can reverse engineer a way to just get yourself back home or get the information of your situation back home. And today marks your first jump that's more than a day into the future. Plan is not particularly ambitious. You're going to jump 1 week into the future, and it's a big deal because it marks a pretty decent increase from previous jumps. You've all come together, and you are waiting in the decontamination room that you go into before you go to the actual jump portal. They're trying to limit as many factors as possible, so you get scrubbed down. All of your gear gets scrubbed down, and
Ooh.
and then you get brought together into a singular waiting chamber while they prep and clean the actual jump area. So that's where you guys find yourself now. You are in a nondescript carved stone bunker. On either side of this room there are airlock type sealed metal doors. They've just sealed the decontamination rooms, and you're just waiting for them to open. There are stone benches if you want to sit. We're going to take the time. We'll start with Jacob. We'll introduce our characters, what we're playing.
So, so still figuring out a name for my character, but he's a goblin. He comes to only 2'7". Doesn't have a whole lot on him in terms of gear or really anything. He's got the clothes on his back and a tattered leather pouch by his side. But he's basically here as sort of another body to test through the machine. He's not really here as a scientist who knows the in and outs of the mechanics of the machine or any scientific or magical stuffs. But he's here basically as a test dummy and as an emissary from the Goblin as part of a treaty.
He's also what is classified as the retrieval specialist. It's his official title. Basically, his job is when you get into a situation where the gear you have is not enough, he's the one who gets it for you.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you know when I have a name, but that's my character. He is currently wearing just a regular black jumpsuit.
Actually, for wearing, you all are wearing standard issue like black jumpsuits.
Okay.
Almost spacesuit ish, where there's like padding and there's like spaces for like helmets and stuff. So you are all pretty uniformly dressed.
Okay.
And then we'll move over to Noah, if you'd like to introduce your character.
Yeah, well, it's still in the works.
As our
And I'm not sure as to like my exact role on the expedition, but I am a dwarven sorcerer of the deep bloodline. So any and all spells regarding moving earth, I'm the guy.
moving earth, huh?
And he's there more as like a there's like a threefold kind of idea behind having him. Sorcerers innately have a more accessible mantle of power.
How do you want this to capture
Which means that in terms of like if you somehow get jettisoned into an era where there is less of a magical area and you need like a thaumic battery, sorcerers are great for that. You can straight up steal magic, drain magic from them. That's the kind of like unofficial reason for why he's on there. There's also like he is a mage. They tend to be just like generally useful, and then he's also kind of there as like a lay expert on the terms of like magic, mysticism, the earth in and of itself. When you're dealing with time travel, you want someone who's kind of familiar with time on a geological scale.
Just move it back to this one.
And that's kind of the niche that he's been instructed to fill. Whether or not he can fill, who knows? That's not how this works. And then I think we'll switch over to Jessica.
Okay.
You want me to put this on this one then?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm a human psychic. I have tattoos all over like my arms that you can see, and like going up to my shoulders underneath the jumpsuit. And I'm not bringing anything like with me. And I kind of like I'm like an engineer on this project. Is that what that is, Justin?
So your role, for what you talked to me about, you are the science officer, basically. So you dabble, you have your magic skill set, and that, but you do have enough engineering, science, education that you are the on-team expert when it comes to time travel theory and time travel, the science of time.
Cool.
And the magical theory of time.
Yep.
You kind of bridge both of those gaps.
Yep. I also have had a strange bout of amnesia over the last year, so that's going to come into play. And my name is Sammy Jenkins.
What's that from? I know it's from something.
It's from Memento.
Oh, wow, nice.
Remember Sammy Jenkins? Or whatever. Let's see. Jenkins.
Then leaves Zach and your final player character member of your team.
All right. He is a human man. His name is Alric Blake, and has studied a lot on magic and a lot on different planes of existence. I think besides his jumpsuit, like the rest of you, he just has, I guess, description. We'll say like brown hair, short brown hair, almost like a military kind of cut, but a little longer than that. And he has a rapier at his side.
So you're with the understanding of his expertise in planes and magic, he is also your guys' combat specialist.
Yeah.
Cool. Can I make my character in here?
Which brings us to the final member of your team. The only elf on this excursion, in fact, the only elf in all of the Norn teams. It's your Proby, your newest member of your team. She just joined last week. Your medic, a elf by the name of Alicia. She is a trailer park elf, but don't hold that against her.
That's awesome.
So she is classically trained. She is a field surgeon. She served in the War of the Convergence as a field surgeon. She is also a cleric of the Alabama moon goddess Shunishine.
Wow.
She's still green around the gills. This is going to actually be her first jump with you guys. She's been pretty excited. And as you guys kind of sit there, there's this brief pause where like there's always this like tense anticipation right before the airlock opens to the jump chamber. Just purely like that understanding, like there is so much that could go wrong. There's so much that we are learning. And then jumping itself is just like an exhilaration. And as like that kind of tense, pregnant pause, that anticipation kind of reaches this crescendo, you hear the seals, the gaskets on the airlock break, and the door swings open into the jump chamber, which is just the most sci-fi classic steampunk magic bullshit you've ever seen in your life. It is a stone platform with just this intense concentric set of runic circles simultaneously spiraling in and out from to the center and from the center in just every color of rune you can see. There are overlapping runes so that they create different runes with their overlapping lights, so that there are runes in the color change from those primary color runes overlaid in those. It's the most intense magical rune work that any of you have seen. It is the culmination of years of inscribing a single circuit board from a now lost to jump ship from the future onto a large scale. Built on top of this platform on like a metal walkway that's raised up, there are almost like the that fair ride where you strap into a board and it spins around and you go up and down.
Yeah.
It's basically that, where it's just like a metal board with straps and head padding and corrugated steel with mesh, chicken mesh, and just all this stuff. There's wires running everywhere. There's this huge clock that's running through what kind of looks like the Fibonacci sequence, to be honest. And there's this huge one wall, just this huge blast wall of enchanted invisible steel, where the main launch control is viewing you guys through. And as you walk in, as you take the steps up the stairs, you pass this circle of stones and natural force barrier. A shield of magical force surrounds the launch chamber. and you guys strap yourselves in. You take a second to think of all that you have, and then the countdown begins. Starting with 10, 5, goes down to 5, 4, and as you start reaching the end of the countdown, jumps are, they're not pleasant by any sense. It is fully an adrenaline-inducing event. Your entire existence is compressed into energy. You are briefly converted into an energy state, and your information is the information of your existence is compressed and sealed inside of your soul, basically. And then you are jettisoned across the timeline, and then reconstituted with as the seal decays. So it's less about having enough power to shoot forward in time, so much as having enough power to seal your essence into your soul. Because as that seal decays, you manifest it, and you just manifest in that time where you show up, basically. So, and that feeling starts off as like a kind of like cold, like your molecules freeze, and then it feels like you're on fire, and then from your perspective, you get cold, you feel like you're on fire. There's like a moment where you black, and then you're just in reality with that reverse, where you feel like you're burning, then you feel like you're freezing, and then you're there. Right as the countdown gets to 2, you already instinctively feel that this is not going to be the same kind of jump. And as it reaches to 2, your new team member looks at you all and just says, "I'm sorry for the circle," and rips off a necklace from her neck. You see that 2 things happen. The necklace begins to glow, and you see that she kind of shifts form and becomes like this gray, almost dwarven shape before you feel your body just rip apart.
Oh,
You
snap.
feel every molecule just be torn apart and then compressed. And I'm gonna have everyone start this game by making a fortitude check.
Oh,
Or
frick.
fortitude save.
Okay, well, I don't have my character sheet. Because I'm waiting on you.
Okay, let me make.
No, that wasn't me. It's a dirty 20.
That one's Zach's.
That's mine.
Right?
No, go back to Lavender.
Okay.
I'm just gonna roll a 1d20 right now, Justin, because I'm not sure what mine's gonna be. So it's probably around a 20.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
If we're level 10.
You'd have some serious. Your fortitude's kind of nuts.
Okay. Make me a level 20. Don't save it.
Not level 20, level 10.
10 was what I meant, sorry. Make me a level 10. I'm sure we don't save this.
Then as you feel like your body rip apart, you actually are, for the first time in a jump,
What do
you
want
are
this in?
almost cognizant of the
Intelligence?
travel of time. You watch the psychedelic movement of like colors and shapes and ideas, and you feel on a
Intelligence,
spiritual
wisdom again.
level, you can feel the shifting of tides. You feel the breaking of the mantle, the shifting of continents. And then you can feel the absence of life and the absence of magic. And then you're presented with the concept of you've always, on a spiritual level, been aware of the gods and creatures of energy and creatures whose mantles make them godlike, whose powers exist, and to a certain extent they are like gravitational force or other invisible constants that exist, where they're just all omnipresent on your person, but you're never consciously aware, like your beat, and then that is gone. Like the very concept of life and gods has been like stripped away from your reality. And then there's this lonely second of where that blackness that you would normally expect from a jump is just stretched into eternity as you realize that nothing exists. And there is only like the movement of the mechanics of the universe. There's no life. And then in that darkness there's just a small speck of life. And you realize that the life was never gone. It was just in such a small number that it couldn't be felt in the state that you were in. And then you expand and you feel yourself, and there's that rush of color again. And you are just jettisoned into the air. You find yourself tumbling. Sammy, you find yourself just face down in the dirt, just like soil in your mouth. You're breathing loam and water. Jacob, your goblin, just finds itself in a tree. You've just been jettisoned into a pine tree of some sort. And you all find yourself just sprawled out in different states of disarray, relatively unharmed. And you find yourself in a meadow near the edge of a forest with no landmarks that you can recognize.
Crap.
What would you like to do?
Are we injured at all from any of this?
No, because even with that 13 that I'm sure she has a bonus for, you all rolled pretty high, and I rolled pretty low on my DC check. So the DC was surprisingly low, and you find yourself like scraped, bruised, things that are more inconveniences than actual injuries.
I'd like to get up and cast No Direction to see if there is a north here.
Yeah. And you cast No Direction, and there is a north, and it's in a direction. And so, do you want to walk towards it? Do you want to know where that north is?
I just wanted to know where it was.
Also, how long does that spell last?
It's a cantrip, so I don't know how I can look, but I just wanted to know like which way I was, and just kind of.
Don't worry about looking. If it's a cantrip, we're just going to assume that you just you can cast it as long as you're not casting anything else and you want to cast it.
Yep. And I'm just kind of looking around right now to see if I see the ship that we were in or anybody that was in the ship with me.
So I'm going to have you make a perception check. I'm going to tell you what all of you can see and then what you can see specifically prior to a actual perception check. Looking around, there one does not appear to be any man-made, dwarf-made, sentient, created object of any kind, with the exception of what was immediately on your guys' person. Two, fading quickly there appears to be like a iridescent rainbow rip in reality, like a scar from where you were ejected from, and it's fading. Like there's, and this is something you've seen before. It's the tear in space time that from time travel, and it's really just the visual leftovers. Like the actual like portal to travel through time, that's already closed and sealed itself off. It's just the visual after effect of light and space being warped back into the correct orientation. And the next thing you know, as you kind of like wander around, north keeps changing. It keeps orienting around roughly where that tear in space-time was.
Oh crap!
And you think that you might be at the North Pole.
Is it cold?
Except for it looks like you are in
Oh, it's just
Oklahoma.
wow. Okay. Must be like a polar anomaly right here.
So you can make a perception check to see other stuff. You can make a knowledge nature or knowledge planes check if you want to kind of get an idea on what's happening with the north.
Yeah, I'll roll.
What else is everyone else doing?
I'll roll.
You need to spend all of your
I did.
knowledge, whatever, your skill points, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna look around.
Yeah, you can make a perception check for me.
Okay, that's a
You
plus
spelled my name.
1.
I did.
Yep.
11.
I can change it.
Looking around, you notice a couple things.
A.
Jenkins?
So when
And no.
you're from the Goblin Kingdom,
No
so
S.
goblins from Earth
No,
have lost
no
their
N,
kind of cultural identity, right?
Jenkins?
Yep.
Sammy Jenkins.
Sammy
They're
Jenkins.
basically white trash Americans. Is the
Make me
trailer park
45.
people are the Earth equivalent of goblins. You are from the Goblin Kingdom. You're from the Feywild. Still not the best. You're still goblins, but you are familiar with a couple things. You know what trees look like. You know that how they grow. These trees don't feel like instinctively don't feel right, and you're also missing your satchel.
Oh no,
Yes.
poor Satchel.
I did my character's name. So I went with. But just Pilkiest.
You're cutting out, Jacob. We can't hear you. Stand. Don't. I would not put skill ranks in linguistics.
Hear me now?
You already know coming.
Well, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You weak.
Cool. So my character's name is Pilky Smeagolfo. But just Pilky is fine.
Wow.
Pilky.
I'm gonna look around. I can't see comrades, can't see my friends. I'm just gonna let out this high-pitched, heartfelt.
Nice.
I'd know that screech anywhere.
I think he's.
Yeah, and you your screech I think is enough that you guys can find each other. You're not scattered too far from any other person on the in the geological. It's probably about 30 feet farthest, like a 30-foot radius from this tear that's already kind of mended itself, which Sammy is already at, kind of just circling. Actually, could everyone make me a perception check?
Did I do it all?
Or tell me if they have
One
a
more.
passive perception higher than 18.
It won't let me.
Yeah, it's because it's a first level rank, so you got to put it in something that doesn't have a rank yet.
Put it in artistry then. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, just. Oh, frick.
How
Yeah, I
about
figured out
put
the
it in
showing.
fly?
Sure.
No worries.
I have a lot of stuff I'm having to go through to make a sorceress.
Yeah,
I mean,
me
I'm-
too.
Same here. I'm not even a full caster, but
I mean, you can literally just make up numbers. At this point, I don't think it really matters.
I'm just gonna pick like 5 skills and put 10 into each.
boom. That's
So then 50 skills.
that's Ulrich's perception. That's mine. 14.
You can just roll for me.
Ulrich, you've landed in
Holy
the
moly.
soil, and you're not a farmer by any means. Nature, plants, that kind of stuff is not
That second one is for Sammy.
particular. Nature and that stuff is not particularly your forte. The trees and the grass are all growing in like organized rows. Like they've been very clearly, purposely cultivated.
So it would appear I'm in an orchard of some kind.
Except for the trees are all pine trees. But yeah, something along those lines.
Or a tree farm.
Christmas tree farm.
I didn't realize they were pine trees.
Or a tree farm. But yeah, the same concept goes, where they are very clearly not naturally grown. They're very clearly manufactured. I'm assuming the 33 is for Sammy.
Yeah, that's me. That's my perception, guys.
Nice.
Sick.
I'm perceptive.
Looking around, things that off the bat you see. It sounds like there's birds, but you can't see any birds. And as you kind of look around, you get like this glimpse out into the field where there's like this dust cloud kind of coming towards you.
Okay.
Like maybe someone's riding like a dirt bike or an ATV or something.
Okay, so
Something
it's small.
small.
It's small. Okay, got it. I'm gonna look down and just make sure, like, assess my body. Do I still have my tattoos?
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Interesting thing. The tattoos are largely a manifestation of your magical abilities, yes? Or are they just actual tattoos?
No, they're actual tattoos to help me remember stuff.
Then yes, you have your tattoos. Oh, your blind spot. Got it. Memento disease. Yeah.
That's
yes,
what it
your
is.
tattoos are still there.
Yeah. I figured it was the only way that my character would be able to remember stuff is if it was down. Okay.
Yes, your tattoos are fully still there.
Okay. I'm still a little bit put off by like this polar anomaly that's going on, and if the dust thing is coming towards me, I'm gonna try to kind of hide, but not like be super hidden. Just kind of be like off to the side so that if, it's maybe something not friendly, that I'm not like right in its path, but if it is friendly, I do want to be able to jump out right away, and stop them.
Noah, for your character,
Yes.
perception-wise, there's a couple things that you as a sorcerer are in tune with that nobody else is, specifically the earth. Ley lines and how they interact with the plane that you're on, and the realities the planes that interact with everything else, those are, for the most part, a geological constant. Those are something that like you can feel like the essence of a place with a good enough perception check and a high enough, like as a high enough level sorcerer, you're in tune with the magic of reality, which also gives you like this innate sense that reality has fundamentally changed around you. You can there's normally like a tug towards like whatever plane is most like in tune with the area you're at. Like you're either pulled towards like the chaos, or you're at a volcano. There's like a pretty obvious pull towards the fire plane.
No.
Stuff like that.
No.
There is no pull. Like magic still flows through the earth. There is like this still like thrumming, but like everything is like in perfect equilibrium, which just fundamentally cannot exist. The way the planes interact, like that. There's two outcomes for why magic and the planes are in an equilibrium. Someone has purposely designed this space so that every plane of reality touches this spot perfectly equally, and like that is a work of centuries in even like a space this big to have equilibrium in that big of a space. Or, in a much more terrifying thought, there are no planes of reality, and there is only the prime material plane. And everything's in equilibrium because they are all at zero. I'm going to leave you to wrestle with that thought as this dust cloud comes closer. And as this dust cloud comes closer, you all begin to eventually see it. I don't know if Sammy alerts you guys. You do have like radios and stuff.
Oh.
So earpieces.
I forgot.
Communication is fairly simple.
Oh, I forgot I had this. Guys, hello? 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 Guys?
Hello?
Sammy here. Who's this?
It's Filky.
Oh, hey, Filky. Hey, can you see a dust cloud?
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Do I see it, Justin?
And it gets to a point where even with a passive perception of 10, you can just see the dust cloud coming. Whatever's coming is not hiding from you guys.
I'm gonna hide from it.
But it is. Yeah, go for it. Roll of stealth for me. But as it
52.
comes, fuck me.
Goblin.
Oh, wait, what is that?
Disappears from existence.
Is that stealth? Holy crap.
What? I'm kind of hiding too. Will you roll my stealth?
Yes.
That's crazy stealth. Oh, because it's a goblin.
It's a goblin with stealth focus.
That's dope.
A natural 20 in your dexterity, if I remember correctly.
Oh, frig, yeah.
Yes, so I have a 24 dex with goblin.
That's legit. Okay, this is Sammy.
Nice.
Let me roll.
Not bad. Yeah, I mean,
Ulrich will kind of try to stand off to the side too, I guess. He's not the stealthiest of people.
.6 is still good.
I'll manage to. I mean, there's trees.
Wait, this is
So they are rolling. They've decided that their course of action for this dust cloud coming towards you guys is to hide from it.
Oh, okay.
So you are fully within your rights to
I'm
not.
not going to hide from it.
Yeah. So
By
you
the way,
all kind of
I
pull
should
back.
mention I have tremor sense.
Out to what range?
Never mind. It's 30 feet.
That's a no.
What did I just click?
Being able to
What the heck?
point something from distance and like feeling the rumbling of foes.
Oh my gosh.
Away. Like there's leeway in that concept. So
What the heck did you do?
I don't
that's
know.
just for the invisible, like
Stop.
actual pinpointing.
Yeah, I can
There you go.
pinpoint the location of like any disruption in like
Yeah,
vibration.
you have high precision, like that's your range of sight, but you can still like feel the outlines of stuff and like concepts. Like you're not like suddenly blind past that radius. You're just mechanically blind for the purposes of combat.
Yes.
And so you do feel looking out, and it feels like hoofbeats is not the right, not quite right. There's not this hard impact into a loam. It's a softer impact, but it's definitely like a quadruped of some kind and large and heavy. But it's not like the hard of like a hoof onto soil. It's more of a paw onto soil kind of deal. But it's definitely coming toward you guys at the speed of like a vehicle, and it's very clear that animal of some kind. And as you guys watch the dust come closer, those of you who don't have this sense of the ground, you finally see what looks to be in the distance, probably 100 feet, probably closer to 100 yards, somewhere in that range away from you is a rider in black armor. Like, there's a large sword strapped to his waist. There's like a samurai banner almost style sticking up from their back with a gray flag, riding what you could only describe as a horse, like a Clydesdale-sized capybara.
Whoa. Nice.
And it's just like pummeling the earth towards you. Or at least towards the direction that you guys are in. Whether or not he knows you're there, unclear.
I'll step out from where I'm hiding and ho!
Guess there's no point in hiding.
Yeah, so you step out and you step out and your dwarf didn't hide to begin with, so you just step out next to Noah's character. And flag this person down. And so he does like veer slightly, like he wasn't quite heading towards you guys prior to this, or like if he was heading looking for this location, he didn't know where you were specifically. And pulls up and like reins in his mount. And gets off. The armor is strange. It's too black. It's not metal, or it's not a lacquered metal, as far as you can tell. It moves too lightly. It moves... Honestly, it moves like high-tech some polycarbonate body armor. It moves like plastic, but it's got like thick plating, and it's in a very clearly like medieval design.
So
like
it's
articulated arm plates.
Plastic plate armor.
Kind of.
Or
yeah.
like laminar armor, or like the what's it? The Romans had the Lorica segmentica or whatever it's called, with like bands, so that it could move.
Or are we talking cosplay armor?
To a certain extent, it's honestly it looks more cosplay armor in the sense that it's like very not form fitted, but it's like it's too well tailored to the proportions of this person's body, and this person is massive, by the way, like easily 7 foot, 8 foot tall. Like this is a tall, huge person. With this big, like it's a two-handed sword for any other person. Like it's a one-handed sword for this one. For this knight is the best you can tell.
Okay.
It looks like cosplay armor in the sense that it's form-fitted, but design-wise, it kind of just looks like plate armor.
Okay.
It's not even particularly ostentatious in any sense. It's just, it looks like it's a polycarbonate of some sign. And this figure looks around before lifting the visor of his helmet and just giving that this huge, bright smile. And just waves to you and just, Hi, Orca Siro Mordecai, O Paragasto Asco Siron Orca Matari.
Wow, that was awesome, Justin. Was that real words?
Nope.
No.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and cast Discern Languages, which is a level 1 spell.
Okay.
And I believe that's what it's called.
It's probably comprehend languages, but I know the general sense of
Yes,
what you're looking
yes,
for.
comprehend languages.
And yeah, you cast your translation spell.
Yeah.
And he looks at you like expectantly, like he like fully is under the impression that you understood what he said. And he looks at you and he sees that you've cast magic, and he kind of gets this look on his face, and then he's like this realization and this like super over dramatic, like, oh, I'm an idiot. You're foreigners. You needed a translator spell. I'm so sorry. My name is Sir Martin. I am a knight in the Order of the Sword, in the Order of the Shadow under His Majesty Halar the Dark.
Hello. Are you speaking common now? Like all of us heard that, or just
You heard that.
I
Everyone
understand.
else heard a small snippet of something new, and then basically that whole spiel that
Got
he said
it.
again.
Okay. I'll speak. Well, I'll tell the group. I'll translate what he said, and I need to look up comprehend languages to see if I can actually speak it, because I'm not sure if I can speak it if I comprehend it.
I believe you understand you can understand the language. You can't speak it, so you can.
Okay.
You understand the literal translation of written and spoken word.
Okay.
And he looks and he sees that there's confusion on the rest of you. He says, "Allow me," and he casts tongues on himself.
Ah, cool.
And he repeats his whole spiel again. My name is Sir Martin of the Order of the Sword in the Order of the Shadow, under his lord, in the service of his lord King Halar the Dark.
Hello, Sir Martin.
I'd like to make a sense motive check.
Yeah, go for it. I'll have you know that he has a -5 to his deception.
He seemed pure.
So how about this? I will roll. See. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh, wow.
He's not being deceitful to you. Sir Martin is obnoxiously, almost in your face, the most straightforward, honest, truthful, sincere, happy-go-lucky giant of a man that you have ever had the misfortune of encountering.
Does he have anything valuable on him or his mount?
His mount has saddlebags. They don't look particularly full. He has a belt buckle, like a sash, a gray sash with a belt buckle in the center of his chest, and it's got a silver gray medallion, like a dull silver medallion, with a sword that appears to be on fire, emblazoned on it, with like this gray silken sash over his black armor. That same sword, flaming sword motif is actually replicated on the banner strapped to his back.
Oh boy.
And he has just this massive broadsword strapped to his shoulder. And on his mount on the other side, you can actually see this big polycarbonate tower shield. But other than that, there are no coin belts, no wallet, no obvious fanny pack of any kind. He appears to have been traveling light. And he looks around. And he says, and for your sense motive, he also appears to be just like genuinely overjoyed that he's meeting new people and he's interacting, and he just seems super stoked that you're here.
I'll ask him.
And he says,
Oh, go ahead.
he actually sees you like begin to answer a question as he talks. He says, "I'm so sorry. Please continue. Go. What is there something you need to know?"
Are we in the Feywild?
I'm sorry. I don't think my spell translated that well.
Oh,
Are
no.
we in the kingdom of fairies? No, fairies don't exist.
What year is it?
Oh, it is the year 805 of the imperial calendar of Xerophil.
Is that
How
have you heard of
have you heard of the Dwarven Conclave?
or Kimi, the king of
For many dwarven conclave,
fire?
Jazz.
Because he was known in the future.
Okay, the Cascadian Conclave then.
Fortunately, my familiarity with the far dwarven lands across the sea is not what it once was. It's been many years since I was at Temple.
What does this I guess is there any sorry, I've been having to pick freaking spells for the past like forever.
Good.
Is there any indication of like climate or culture of this place? I think you mentioned like something about white trash Americans, but I don't remember exactly.
That was talking about goblins.
Oh, gotcha.
From where you guys are from, specifically. From what you can tell, he and like the stuff on his mount are very like aggressively medieval, with the exception of like the material that his armor's made out of. It's like aggressively Middle Ages. Climate-wise, it feels like you're in like a temperate, lower temperate, so on the warmer side of a temperate region. Wet enough that there's like a pine forest near you, and like this vast rolling grassland.
Okay.
Complexion-wise, he's tanner skin. He's not like a dark complexion by any.
Can I use
means.
a
He's definitely not. He spends a lot of time outside. Is probably your
can I use
interpretation of that skin tone.
a knowledge planes to see if I would recognize this as a different plane? I don't think anyone's told me that this is the material plane for sure.
No one has. Yeah, feel free to do a knowledge plane.
Can you
Good. I'm really glad I picked this person because I kind of know what I'm
And
doing.
you guys are figuring out. He's like, so You are clearly very lost. I'm going to assume you do not know where you are. Is this an unfair assumption? I don't wish to be rude or presumptuous here.
It's a 22 for
Oh, you are not being rude at all. Thank you for your consideration. Yes, we have just arrived and we don't know where we are.
We don't know
We're
when
a little
we are.
confused on when we are as well.
I got a 22 for knowledge planes.
Knowledge planes, to a certain extent, you are familiar with how ley lines interact. Material plane is the only place where ley lines actually exist. All the other planes are actually like energy states made manifest into reality. So magic is everywhere, whereas in the material plane, ley lines like transverse, and they're the veins that push magic through the world, through reality. There are ley lines here. Your like general observation, the properties of this where you are at match up with the material plane. The gravity's constant in this thing. The flow of time doesn't appear to be changing in any capacity. With the exception of like this, everything just kind of feels fucking weird because the whole situation's just kind of fucked.
Yeah.
This feels like the material plane to the best of your knowledge, which is not inconsiderable.
This is not good. I'm saying, oh, I guess he cast tongues on us, so he would understand me too.
No, he cast tongues on himself, so he can understand you and talk. But yeah, so he can understand you.
Regardless of what language I speak in, though. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
So I've spent this entire time kind of like my character has spent this entire like however many minutes it's been just trying to figure out if the other planes of existence still exist.
Still on that, that's great.
Should I roll like spellcraft for that or something?
You can roll spellcraft, you can roll knowledge planes. I would also accept a just pure intelligence luck check.
I want to try an intelligence luck check, just pure luck.
For just divine inspiration.
Okay.
Or I guess something of that capacity. He said, while you're doing that, he responds to you guys as, well, I believe I've answered when you are, and that question confuses me to no end. But
Have you?
But I can freely answer.
Continue.
Yes.
Have you heard of the Gregorian calendar? Have you heard of the North American Commonwealth?
Gregorian calendar translates into a calendar based off of the works of Gregor. So I feel like that is a local time thing for you guys.
Are we pre then?
The other ones, I understand Commonwealth and the word North. And so I'm assuming this is the kingdom you were from.
And Ulrich's gonna just turn around frustrated, just hand on his head, this was not supposed to happen. The jump wasn't even supposed to work. It wasn't even supposed to work. This wasn't supposed to happen.
What do you mean it wasn't supposed to work? Of course it was supposed to work. We were supposed to go 1 week into the future.
Yeah, anyway, we're well past that. I'm sure you can...
No, we are not well past that. Did you do something? Is this your fault?
No, clearly it was the elf's fault. Does anyone know what the order is? Or the circle?
No. Where is she, by the way?
I don't think she made it.
Seen her. Don't know where she is.
I want to roll sense motive on that. You didn't mess with the time machine, Zach.
Okay. Did I actually
Yeah,
say that
it
I
wasn't
didn't mess with
supposed-
it?
You said it wasn't supposed to work.
You never said that you didn't mess with it. You heavily implied that
It wasn't supposed to. Yeah.
I had
it was-
some kind of knowledge that
it wasn't going to work. But you never explicitly stated that, one, it was messed with. Those were Sammy's words.
Yeah.
And you also never said that you didn't mess with it.
Okay. So I don't
But
know.
I will roll. You are free to do persuasion or deception, because whichever's higher for you, because both are equally applicable in the sense that it's really more about your the kind of face that how you're holding yourself.
Yeah.
You're just not explaining.
And less
yourself.
about like whether or not you're actually lying or telling the
There.
truth.
Diplomacy.
Yeah, I believe you.
Ah. What's your character's name again? Oh,
Ulrich.
Ulrich. Ulrich. I know that we have a lot going on, but if there's anything that you know, now would be the time to say something.
Friends, I'm sensing some tension, and as a Crown and Temple-sponsored mediator, I feel it is my duty as your local liaison that perhaps information trading before turning on each other would be prudent.
Yes. Do you have Cone of Truth?
What's his name?
Cast that.
His name is Sir Martine.
Sir
He
Martine
pronounces it almost like Martini, but
without the
Yeah.
E.
without the E.
Sir Martine, do you know anything about time travel?
A king and god Halar have postulated some interesting theories in his works of the scroll about the flow of time and the fracturing of decisions, and how each decision affects the flow of time as if it was a river being diverted by each action. And some actions are small enough that the diversions are not noticeable. But the more divergent and the larger the action, the larger the consequences, the more the path of time diverts.
Ulrich, I'm still waiting for you to answer my question. If there's something that you know that
Well,
you're withholding,
What I know is that we made a jump, and our new member of the team told us she was sorry and did something.
is that all you know?
Yes.
Insight check! Sense your
You mean sense motive?
freaking motive, yes.
You've just been waiting.
Well,
It's up there, Jess.
I'm trying to get there.
I feel I have not fully answered your guys'
Good
question.
character sheet.
We are currently in the province of the Eastern Sea of Grass, in the Kingdom of Carvalen, in the closest city is the capital city of Carvalen, in the country of Carvalen under the rule of Hala the Dark, the demon king of Carvalen.
It's a lot of Carvalen.
Which each time he says Carvalen, it's like you hear the word and then it like it's translated from the spell to say when he says the country of Carvalen, it's literally translated to the country of living stone. Fuck. And when he says the city of Carvalen, it's literally translated to the mountain of living stone.
You didn't have to.
Does this mean anything to me?
Make me a knowledge arcana check.
I rolled a nat 20 on
Yeah,
my
he
sense
saw it.
motive.
He saw it.
Yeah. Zach, how How is Alaric?
Yeah, that's my bluff check.
Oh, so sad.
Huzzah!
Is Alaric?
What was that?
Alaric is withholding information. You feel that more than likely he has some other ideas and some more knowledge that he's revealing. You also get the feeling that he feels like the information is not going to help you right
Justin, real quick.
Gonna
So
give
my
you the
character is still
stink eye.
stumped a little bit of ways. Can I stealth up towards his mount and just go through his saddlebags for any food?
now. Absolutely, you can. Roll stealth for me. With that 21, the term Carvalin itself is foreign to you. The concept of living stone
Can I ask
is another one of those terrifying
Yeah.
things because it means because even elementals are not actually living stone. They're a physical manifestation of an idea and an energy imprint, right? They're a physical manifestation of a quantum state, basically. Like they're not alive in the sense that they have a soul, that they change, they absorb. They're not alive in the sense that matters in a magical sense, which is why people can summon them and kill them without like qualms on who they are as a person. They're not real. They're living a stone as a concept implies that Earth is taking in energy. Maybe it's chemical energy, like we take in food. Maybe it's magical energy. Maybe it's fucking raw thermonuclear power. You're not sure, and it is converting it into vital energy, which is the essence of life. It's your key. It's your mantle. It's the energy. It's your soul. The energy manifestation of life. It's the thing that allows you to grow and change. So the concept of living stone, and it could just be a translation. It could just be that their understanding of an elemental is that it's alive. Like they could just be back-ass Earth and don't understand magic in that actual sense. But if it's actually living stone, then it is Earth. It is stone that is converting energy into vital energy. It can change and grow the way that a living creature could.
Okay. And then, harking back, did I get anything off of that 25 spellcraft check to figure out if the other planes existed?
That's totally right. Off of 25, with your kind of innate connection to Earth and Chaos Planes, kind of. You get the feeling that this is the material plane, but it's like too much of the material plane. Like the air is too much air, the earth is too much earth. You're almost wondering if like the opposite of entropy happened, where things pulled apart and drifted away from each other and went into more and more chaos. You're almost wondering if there was at some point a true convergence where all of the planes exist simultaneously in the material plane. It's a working theory, and you have no proof. It's a hypothesis at best. And it is still very possible that the other planes were just purely annihilated, and what you're feeling is like the background radiation of that annihilation.
Okay. I'm going off that right now, and I'm using the whole living stone thing as like my current like best evidence for that possibly happening.
So now what do we do?
Suppose I could inform you of some cultural faux pas to ease your way into dealing with our society and perhaps better inform you. Jacob, getting into his saddlebags, there is a ornately framed mirror, roughly like the size of like an iPhone, and there's like some like probably it's a jerky of some kind. It's a hardtack. Not a lot of food. There is a water flask, in a it almost looks like it's like tin or something like that. But he appears to be traveling very light.
Do we see any remnants of our spacecraft? Time traveling
No.
thing?
I'll take the
So
jerky
far,
in the mirror.
Sir,
Mirror, I'm just gonna like stuff in my shirt or something. And jerky, can I scramble up onto like the back of his saddle so I'm not touching him, but I'm just sitting behind him stealthily?
Well, he got down to talk to you guys.
Okay, I'm just gonna sit up in the saddle and eat his jerky then.
Okay, he's holding on his back, turned to you.
Cool.
Uh,
But I'm assuming the other people can see me then. Unless the guy's like
Yeah,
quiet in between.
I'm gonna kind of like.
no, I mean, it's a fucking Clydesdale-sized thing. He's still not as tall as it.
Jacob, I'm gonna kind of like notice. Can I notice him? Like, do I see? Am I like staring basically? Like.
Yeah, I mean, you can see him. He's
Okay.
not hiding anymore.
I'm gonna like shake my head and like use mage hand to kind of like slap a piece of the jerky out of your hand.
Looks around. My first and primary question is, I must check and I must ask. And then, like the first like dark, somber look comes across his face, and his hand lays on his sword. Are any of you followers of the Lord of Light?
Don't know who that is.
Nope.
So I think you're safe.
Is that supposed
Excellent.
to be a god?
Well, worship of the Lord of Light is not specifically banned in the kingdom of Carvalen. His followers are not welcome here.
What does he do?
Secondly, are any of you worshippers of any of the gods? Lay priests or even just devoted to a particular deity?
Not anymore.
Not one that you would recognize, I'm sure.
Well, I suppose the pantheon of the divine is vast and unknowable. If you are worshippers or priests and come preaching the word of your God, know that the worship of all gods is open and free. Just do not infringe upon the lawfully given rights of our people, and abide by the coordinate of pi.
The
Pie?
coordinate of pi?
Yes, it is decreed by our by the king by King Halar that all gods may get a slice if they wish.
Oh, I got it.
Oh,
Pie.
I was
He
thinking.
says it like this like perfectly deadpan straight face. Like he has no understanding of like the cultural connotations of having a slice of pie.
I was thinking more along the lines of the ratio of a circle's circumference to its radius. Or diameter. No, radius.
You're funny.
Also, does not appear to like understand like the mathematical concept behind it either. He says, basically what that means is worship of all gods is permitted, but no god may interfere with the worship of another god. If a farmer chooses to worship the Sky Father one day, and the Lord of Clouds the next day, or the Lady of the Hearth the next day, no god may interfere with his worship. Any one citizen may choose to devote themselves to a single god if of their own free will, but
Yeah, sure. Okay.
what is it the word has spoken? Yes. Monotheism shall not be abided. unless it is the personal choice of the worshiper.
Interesting.
How old are you, Sir
Also,
Martin?
don't kill people.
Martine. Oh, okay. Well, that's.
Oh, I have turned 17 this name.
Does he look 17?
Turkey.
He fully looks like he's 25.
Like,
It's like full on Riverdale. 30-year-old is playing a teenager.
gotcha. Yeah, like yes.
I'm gonna real quick play off a hunch, and I'm gonna cast Detect Radiation.
Wait, detect radiation? Is that an actual spell?
It is.
Fucking great spell. Actual spell from just like the worst parts of Pathfinder.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I pull on my Geiger counter.
So, things that you normally would be able to pick up with a spell. Only radio waves that you can find in any capacity are your guys' walkie-talkies.
Okay.
There is no radio waves in the air. There is no technological bandwidth of any kind. No laser links. Nothing in the area that you can sense.
Okay. So not
Background radiation. Yeah. None of like the stuff like modern society would have.
Yeah.
Background radiation wise, higher than you're used to. Like maybe the Earth's just been irradiated more. Maybe the universe is just older and the background radiation's thicker. It's unclear. There is a source of radiation that's omnipresent in the Earth that flows almost like ley lines, but they're distinctly separate from the ley lines, which themselves are a form of radiation. They're magical radiation, and those are something you detect with detect magic, which is a like specialized version of detect radiation.
I'm gonna go ahead and cast detect magic then.
It's vital. Those veins are vital energy, and they're like fine. Like the veins travel up into just like individual grains of earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like they travel that fine if you like focus on a particular patch.
Okay.
You're thinking that the living stone aspect is going to be more accurate than not.
Yeah.
With detect magic, right away you can tell. Sir Martin's sword is enchanted. His armor appears to be enchanted. In the shirt pocket of, or in the shirt of, I've already forgotten your character's name, Jacob.
It's a hard one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Toki.
In Kilky's shirt, like stuffed into in front of his breast, there is a magical source of some kind. It is also clear that the very earth is enchanted. Like the very soil you are standing on is enchanted with like really strong transmutation magic.
Is it just the earth, or does it extend to like plants and structures as well?
No. It purely extends to the soil. So the plants appear to be normal. The air appears to be normal.
How
One animal that you can see appears to be normal.
how much experience do we have with one another as a group?
You've done a few short jumps and you've done like the mandatory fun bonding stuff, but
I failed to trust
none of
once.
you are like besties. This is
Okay.
This is like probably your first like big thing together.
But I'm
you
like,
spent more time together than like with your elf, possibly dwarf, evil saboteur, but not a lot of time.
okay. But as far as like knowing each other's specialties and like areas of expertise, we know all that.
Oh, you're intimately familiar with your
Okay.
dossiers, yeah.
Cool.
Intimately.
Wait, what's shoot. I don't know anyone's names, and it doesn't help that they're not actually in here at
Sammy.
all. No, not Sammy. Noah, what's your character's name?
Drevlin.
Drevlin?
Drevlin.
Drevlin? Okay, two Drevlin. Drevlin, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm getting really strong transmutation magic in the soil.
Yeah, I'm gonna just real quick cast Mind Link and tap you on the shoulder
Okay.
and convey everything that I've pieced together regarding the planes of existence
Wow.
and all the things that I've been like focusing on this entire time.
Okay. So is that a two-way street or just information from you to me?
It's just from me to you.
Okay. Yeah. So after you do that, and I kind of absorb that, well, that would explain why the transmutation magic's only in the earth. Everything else appears to be, well, magically normal, at least.
Yeah.
Well, this certainly wasn't covered in the safety tutorial training.
Martine looks around and he looks and he sees I've already forgotten your character's name, Jacob.
Everyone should just type their character's name in
Yeah.
the chat.
There we go. Pilky.
Pilky.
Okay, he sees Pilky, who has stealthed away from the
No, I just want
mount
to type
and
in
has
here.
like come out of the woods to line up for you guys and says, "Oh, I was unaware that you had one of the denizens of the Underreaches as part of your group."
Yes,
and he leans down, and in the just like worst goblin you've ever heard, introduces himself. But like it's like goblin in the way that like English is to pre-Anglo-Saxon or like post-Anglo-Saxon Old English.
Oh.
It's very clearly the same language, but it's very clearly not.
I am grinning, just, that was amazing, internally on screen. And I introduce myself. I'm Pilky. I'm with these.
It is not very often that one of the members of the cult of the Demon King graces the upper world with their presence.
I raise an eyebrow at this and look at the rest of the group.
Oh.
I look up at Zach and just the big ears just lower a bit.
I see that I have concerned you all with the talk of my Lord Halar. Are you familiar with the Lord of Shadows?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Halar is the king of the Empire of Carvalen. He says it, the word Carvalen again, and again it gets translated, and it literally means the Empire of the Living Stone.
And Ulrich's gonna make eye contact with Drevlin at that point.
Yeah.
And like a nod, like.
So, but like he's physically using the same word, same intonation, like Carvalen, and it's actively meaning a different thing each time he refers to it in a different context. Which you get the feeling like if you were learning this language normally would be a pain in the ass. So English. Worse. But yeah. But like not even like
Wow,
words
of course.
that mean different things that sound the same, or the same word but means different things. It's the same word that means different things, but are all basically the same concept. On just a different scale. He is the king of Carvalen. He is one of the eternal lords of night. He ascended temporarily to godhood and became the Lord of Shadows before choosing to descend back into the realm of mortals, where he then waged a war of conquest as the Demon King, instilling law, order, and fair play amongst his followers. He set up my chivalric knightly order, the Order of Shadows, and its trifecta of parts: the Order of the Sword, the Order of the Scroll, and the Order of the Horse. He is also the Lord of Horses, and he is the crowned consort of the Bright Queen. I have no idea what any of this means.
That cleared everything up. Thank you very much. What is this guy's name again? You may want to type that in the chat too.
Sir Martine.
Oh, Martine. Okay, yeah. That clears up a lot, Sir Martine.
We are about an hour's ride from the city of Carvalen. Again, the city of Livingstone. We are not too far from one of the King's roads. I fear night will be falling soon, and we don't. I would personally not wish to endure one of the nights out here in the sea of grass. It's a little cold for my taste. Don't tell my senior officer I said that. I'm supposed to be hardy.
Oh, okay.
And it's like you said, temperate weather.
Yeah, it's like at most like 69, 70 degrees.
Okay.
Like it's warm. It's not cold. It's not particularly hot.
Well, I suppose you can lead the way.
Yep. He looks around. 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. I feel rude riding without you. You all know how to ride. Yes?
Yes. Not very well.
We won't go particularly fast. It's not a far ride.
Yes, I do know how to ride.
Excellent. And he goes for a second and he casts the spell Mount. Those of you who are proficient in either spellcraft or knowledge arcana, he's very clearly casting in an arcane capacity.
All right.
Summon
Now
evils.
Magic. And cast Mount, and to a certain extent, you almost expect more capybaras. But these spectral horses, they're, again, probably about the size of a Clydesdale, just pitch black with like these burning coal eyes. It's like someone painted a horse using only shades of black and gray.
So it's a goth horse or an emo horse.
Uh-huh. almost of like, yeah, but like they're gorgeous. Like they have these like thick, beautiful, glossy pelts, long, curly, flowing manes. Like they are like the most like romantic novel version of a horse you've ever fucking seen.
Nice.
Like full on Fabio manes.
Okay. Blowing in a mysterious wind that no one else can feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says, we'll have to dismount within a 10-minute walk from the city. I'm not technically allowed to cast this spell using horses as the mount yet, but they're a little bit easier to ride than a capybird.
Hey, what?
I hop on my horse.
He says capybird. You literally translate it to water horse mount, and he says that as he's like getting on his capybara.
Interesting.
And you get the feeling that it's just what they call that animal. Yeah, he perfectly sizes. No, he doesn't. They're Clydesdale size. Never mind. I've already described that in canon.
I hop him up. I hop up on my, to me, gigantic horse.
I will help
They're
Pilkey.
massive, yeah.
No, I just straight jump up, like, from
Oh,
the ground
okay.
onto it.
Okay.
Alright, make me an athletics check, or acrobatics check.
Cool.
Which again, I know is your strong suit.
And this is a jump, so I add my high jump. Because monk. 47. Three things. Stealth, acrobatics, punchy things.
Nice.
I feel pretty good that I put one skill rank in ride, which is a class skill for me for some reason.
It's kind of just a class skill for all the martial classes for whatever reason.
When you're done, will you go back to 10 last?
Also, I don't know how you want to play it, Justin, but my sword's name is Fenric, and he has an intelligence, a wisdom of 14.
What? You have a sword?
Yeah, I have a rapier. And I
as
guess
you ride,
as a description, it's like stylized. The hilt is stylized with like a wolf head or something like that.
Excellent.
as you ride, Sir Martin keeps his visor up, and he looks around and says, I hope I have not been too rude or presumptuous to have cast Detect Magic in your guys' presence, but professional curiosity required that I inspect you all. Most of you appear to be casters or a body mage, and a body. Your 3 casters and a body mage is quite rare. Ulrich, yes. You appear to be a blade worker as well.
Yes, and don't feel bad about detect magic. I've already used it myself.
Oh, it's one of the first spells you learn. And then you're just curious about what other people can do. And I'm from Melska, the city of wizards, anyways.
And to be frank, it's a soldier's reflex to check new people.
Whose army did you fight in?
I do, hearing that, I'm going to ride over next to him and pass him back the mirror saying, I hope to not offend you, I do need to give this back. As we had no idea where we were and no idea who you potentially were, I did notice this magical item and wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be like super dangerous to us. It is yours, and I do want to give it back.
You've never seen a mirror before.
A goblin thief with a
Wow.
a goblin thief with a conscience.
That's adorable.
No, it's not a conscience. As an ocean, he has to detect magic, and he might find out.
Yeah. Haha.
We come from a interesting land where the mirror is not ubiquitous among. I guess you might not be soldiers from where you're from. I just assumed because you're all dressed the same that I presumed I must be rude. This is a mirror. It is a magical communication device. I use it to
Interesting.
contact other members of my order.
As I said before, just a precaution, and again, first time I've ever seen a mirror in my life.
You've spoken with a conscious, and I can't blame someone for being cautious in an unknown situation. The Demon King preaches forgiveness is the highest of virtues.
Thank you, and I hope you understand our situation of having to be careful.
Of course. And I'd be more than happy to take you to the closest Temple of Shadows to talk to a speaker of the Lord. Perhaps one of our priests would be able to shed some light on your situation.
Sure.
Yes, I think
Why
that'd be good.
not?
We're kind of at a loss for what to do.
Well, I can't say I understand precisely what has happened to you, but magic is a fickle tool when used in experimentation.
Careful of the HDMI.
He rides on and he pauses for a second, like he kind of like is constantly telling you about where he's from, and the utter lack of cultural context makes it basically useless. What you do kind of gather from him talking is that this appears to be a largely medieval, feudal, and monarch-based society, or aristocracy of some form. There's no like hard class system. In fact, it's kind of heavily implied that Halar, the Demon King, really values this concept that's foreign to his people called equality. He's like very anti-slavery. He's institutionalized like as a child you're supposed to get traded between families so you can try out different trades and crafts to find the kind of thing that best fits your personality, your temperament, and your skill set. Which has like inspired this like really complex like trading of dowries and trading of like kids and kind of like almost institutionalized like homeschooling as like a social networking concept. And like all of this stuff he's describing to you is just fucking batshit. Like it's this kind of stuff that you feel like could only get accomplished because this one person has convinced everyone to do it, and not because people are like on board with it culturally. And the more he talks, the more you kind of get that like Halar's been king for like generations. And then like you guys get close to the city, and he says, "Well, we'll have to dismount." And as he dismounts, he stops. I almost forgot to ask. None of you are demon workers, correct?
What does
Shake my
that
head.
mean exactly? So I feel like there's a loose translation.
You have no contracts with the chaos entities from outside the firmament.
No.
Again, this means absolutely nothing to.
We're not
So
from here.
based on what my character has put together so far, does the name firmament, like, does that word kind of click into place?
It's firmament is like not quite the English translation of the concept, but you are from. It's more like it's the translation of the magical terminology, and it's a concept that's highly theoretical, and it's basically it's a concept that people who deal with the chaos planes are really interested in. It's kind of like an atmosphere. It's kind of like force field. It's this idea that you can take the raw power of chaos, turn it into pure, unadulterated order, and use it to protect reality from the destructive effects of chaos. There's like theories that you can make like a ship that could sail the seas of chaos in between realities, in between timelines, if you have a firmament. Or like you could put like a pocket reality. It's like the theoretical concept of, well, if chaos, these realms of chaos it's the same realm of chaos that covers all timelines, and it destroys and warps and gets rid of everything it touches. Why does all of reality exist? And so it's kind of like it's the black matter of magic, where it's like it's a concept that only exists because if it didn't, reality shouldn't function as you understand it.
Did you end the secret stuff?
No. Doing homework stuff.
Very anti-demon working here.
I'm not saying anything until we get to the city.
Weapons besides Mr. Ulrich and your body mage.
What'd you say?
Do any of you have weapons besides, of course, you, Master Ulrich, and your body mage? And he points
At Sammy?
Well, Mr. Plinky, you are a body mage.
Or
You
Plinky.
are, in fact, a weapon.
Plinky's the weapon.
I'm a what?
You're a body mage.
Plinky's just not understanding the concept of a body mage.
And because Sir Martin has 0 ranks in sense motive, he does not notice that.
I'm just going to pile it onto all the other stuff I've heard and just push it off to the side.
There are no laws prohibiting magic or weapons within the limits of the city of Carvalin. It is encouraged that you divulge to the gates of Carvalin. And again, he says, the gates of living stone. Which the more he says stuff like this, the more like it feels like they just kind of fucking gave up on coming up with words. It's encouraged that you divulge your methods of defense to the gates. It's tradition more than anything, but the mountain appreciates it when you will keep it informed.
The mountain appreciates it.
Let's go to this gate and tell our tales.
So the mountain appreciates it as a rhetorical kind of a statement, and then make another knowing glance over to Devrin.
Not wish to insult the mountain of Carvalin, the haunted mountain of Carvalin. And again, it's the mountain of living stone, haunted by ghosts. Like, it translates to that.
Thou dost not want to fly upon the mountains. Oh man.
And so you guys are still like in plains, and then the road that you're on, which is like this perfectly flat stone road. Like there's no divots, there's no ruts in it. It almost looks like perfectly poured and polished concrete, except for like at the edges, like it transitions into the earth like super like naturally and fluidly, almost like it's like frozen water. This road we've been traveling on. And he takes you, and then suddenly, just like in the middle, right where in the middle of the field, there's this huge stone wall with this stone gate, probably 20 feet tall at the height of the interior of the gate, with these large column in the center, and it looks like there's a giant stone pivot door in the center of this gate that's been rotated so it perfectly bisects this like circular entrance through this wall. Ooh. There's no guards there. There are like at the top of the wall as you get closer, what you initially like kind of assumed were like parapets or like the crenellations on the parapet wall of a wall, you see are instead these like intricately carved stone statues of like archers that are only like carved from the waist up, with like these huge stone bows and quivers filled with stone arrows. And then you guys walk up to the gate. Sir Martin puts his hand on the pivot door and closes his eye and says, "I am Sir Martin of the Order of the Sword, the Order of Shadows. I carry Runeskra, the sword of burning embers. And I have also a dagger in my left boot." And continues on with his mount.
That's really
And
cool.
just waits for you guys on the other side of the gate. He also, like, he walks halfway there, almost forgot, puts his hand. I am also a caster of the fifth circle. And puts his hand down and walks out.
I will go next.
Which, under tongues, fifth circle translates to fifth level spellcaster.
Nice, of the fifth circle. Nice. I will walk up and put my hand on the gate. I am Sammy Jenkins, daughter of Eve in the Canadian realm. Circle of the Five, is that what it was? Fifth circle of the fifth circle. Weapon of my own knowledge. And I walk through.
As your hand leaves, you see that there is like this faint imprint of your hand, like almost like you pressed into a malleable surface on the stone of the gate that slowly, like you pressed into a memory foam mattress that slowly fades away, which is weird because like touching the stone, it feels like your hand is on like cold granite, like it's hard, it's firm. You didn't even notice like an imprint at all. As you pull away, you like in this back of your head, there's like this psychic rumbling, like not even a concept or an idea, like just this like pure primal understanding.
Did I forget anything?
You forgot what happened when you were decontaminating.
Message me. I don't know. I don't have a. I need to. I'm a.
Well, would like to go through.
Okay.
I will go through, now that I've seen somebody else go through it. I will ride up, being as little as I am and having to stretch from this big animal, I just lean over both hands on the stone door and just,
Just dismount it before you got in, because
okay.
he's technically not allowed to cast this spell.
Oh, okay. If this is the point of getting off.
So he, like, shoot it away, yeah.
Cool. I still walk up, just big, 2 hands on the door and just, Pilkies, McGoffalions, Goblin. I punch things, and if they make me really angry, I bite them. And then I walk through.
You don't notice anything with the stone, but you also feel like this vibrating and like key is not something you've spent a lot of focus on. Like you understand it, you know that it happens. You don't understand the mechanics of it. You do know that like power flows through your body. You understand that like there are veins of magic that go through you. That they are how you empower yourself. You feel like this energy flow through and like shake you, like you have your own personal earthquake as you touch and talk to this fucking stone gate. And then, as soon as you let go, it's gone.
The fuck? And then walk through.
I'll go next, I guess. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, I guess.
Can you
walk on up?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, walking up. I am Ulrich Blake of the North American Commonwealth. I wield Fenric and am a caster of the 4th circle. And then I walk on through.
Nice.
As you touch, there's like this second where your hand almost doesn't pull away from the door, like there's like a vacuum suction almost, and you feel rumbling. Not dissimilar how Fenris talks to you when you wield it. Just this. It's like listening to an avalanche.
Okay.
It's like listening to an avalanche which says, "Bear not a blade of human steel against my walls."
Uh-oh.
And then I let you go.
Oh.
Okay. I kind of like shake my hand and just keep walking.
It's Drevlin, who it's up to you. You technically are not required to talk to the gate.
I guess that is true.
Because you're a dwarf? Is that why?
I'm just gonna walk through.
Walk through. Sir Martin looks at you and says, "Well, it is a local tradition. It is not a law by any means. If you do not feel comfortable divulging, that is okay. I know that you are a caster, and there is no laws against our kind in this in our city. We're not the city of witches.
I'll share the laughter.
Would have been nice to know that before you gave me that nice little hand tattoo. Is there anything else, Sir Martine, that's not required of us as we proceed to this king?
Is there anything that isn't required of us?
Yes. Toll roads are only actually sanctioned if they are guarded by one of the Bright Queen's Gold Regiment, or if one of the Knights of Shadow are enforcing the tolls. Otherwise, they are merely donation pins for the local barony. Which it's heavily encouraged that you donate to keep with the upkeep of the infrastructure of our great nation of Carvalen, the nation of living stone.
I'm sure, considering the circumstances, you'll understand why we can't donate at this time.
Of course, of course. Well, if you wish to, if you end up having money and too much to carry on you, gold is of course a heavy currency. Go to one of the temples of the god of commerce, or one of the temples of the god of banks, or the god of wealth, or the lord of coin lending is my personal choice for money transactions.
Credit cards.
Give you notes of credit.
Oh, interesting. We have. So I take it you have MasterCard here.
Oh, MasterCard.
Never mind.
Some master craftsmen do have certificates of achievement.
Don't worry about it. It's a joke.
And the city is interesting because everything is made out of the same perfectly polished slate gray stone. And everything looks like it grew naturally. The roofs are made of stone, but you can't see the joins between walls. You can't see the joins between the roofs. Everything's like, there's lots of like intricate and unique styles that people have carved things in, but even the carvings look perfectly smooth and like they've grown in. And if you look like, if you get close to like one of the windows or the doors, it almost looks like the stone has grown around and attached itself to like the metal hinges.
Bet it's really difficult to replace a door in this place.
If you say that, Sir Martin says, no, you just ask the mountain to give you the hinge back.
Does he still have tongues on? How long does that spell last?
I honestly don't know how long it...
If they're... Let's see. Sorry. I'm gonna cast No Direction again to see if anything has changed.
You can cast it for a little under an hour before he has to cast it again.
Huh.
So I guess he will have to cast it again, because otherwise you guys can't fucking talk.
Nope.
So he'll spend another third level spell slot.
Poor guy. I cast.
Yeah. So the moment if you kept, anytime you casted it since you left that location, north has been a constant. Has been from that random clearing that you guys found yourself in.
Okay, well that's good.
Like,
at least.
for whatever reason, you guys got yeeted to the North Pole.
Yeah. Huh. Polar anomalies are weird. Well, at least I just think to myself, at least I know where to go if we need to go back there.
How late in the day does it look like it is?
Oh yeah, is there
What
a
was that?
sun?
How late in the day is it?
That's a good question.
Probably mid-afternoon. Of some capacity. And as the sun like sinks, like the edges of the sky do like warp into this kind of like purple, deep purple color. But he takes you down this road until you reach an honestly not super like imposing building in any capacity. Well, kind of. So he takes you, and in the front of this building, the entrance, there is this large stone statue, probably 15 feet tall, of a man astride a rearing horse with a big flowing mane. The horse's eyes appear to be like have like either an inset gem that's been enchanted with flame, or there's actual like fire in there. This figure is wearing heavy looking armor with this huge sword, like easily as tall as he is proportionally. In one hand, he has a scroll in the other hand, and what looks to be a crown. And behind it is just this almost like cottage level, simple and sized chapel building made out of stone, with a doorway that's kind of enshrouded in shadows, and lit by like a single brazier that you can kind of see inside. And it's a small building, like it's not very like it's dwarfed by this fucking ludicrously sized statue. Which is also the only piece of stone you've seen that is a different color from the rest of it. It's like onyx, all in dark blacks. And as you come close to it, Sir Martin like gets down on one knee and crosses his arm to his chest to the statue and then stands up. And says, "Welcome to the Bale Neighborhood Chapel of Shadows." And I think, because it looks like Lex needs me to come grab her, that is where I'm going to let you guys go tonight. Mostly because it's also 11, and I have to go to work tomorrow.
Oh, that's yeah.
Oh, true.
I finally
I like it so far.
almost all of my characters.
Nice. Sweet.
Well, I will see you guys later. It was fun
That was fun.
making shit up on the fly.
That was super cool. Did you know all that stuff already, Justin? Like, did you have a sheet of all this, or were you really making up all those like words and names and stuff?
Oh no, and all of that was made up. All of that was bullshit.
Dude, that's so legit. It seemed like you had a list you were reading from. Like,
Nice.
how the frick is he supposed to keep track of this? That was really cool.
Nope, nothing is real and everything's a lie. Alright, I'll see you guys later.
All right, bye.